Restricted.
Restricted.
And leaked.
And leaked. Area 51. Alright, we're gonna get right into the weeds here with Lazar's claims about flying saucers at Area 51. So when he claimed to have worked there, he said there were 9 alien aircrafts being held and studied at the base. In terms of what these alien crafts were being used for, more detail on that in a bit, but basically they were reverse engineering the alien technology. In terms of what these alien aircrafts looked like, Lazar described them as looking completely different from one another. Some of them he only got a quick glimpse of and were too far away to make out proper details, but a couple really stood out to him, and one he referred to as the Jello mold, describing it looking like, quote, your classic Jello mold with the ripples on the sides of it. One he saw looked more like a flat disc, and part of it was damaged. He figured maybe researchers had been maybe testing whether or not their weapons could penetrate it, or it could have just crashed or been shot down initially. And most of his research was happening at Area S4. But let's go to Hannah for more info on that.
Alright, thanks James. Unless you're living under a rock, I'm positive you have heard about Area 51, otherwise you probably wouldn't have clicked on this video. But do you know about Area S4? Well, neither did most people until Bob Lazar decided he was sick of the secrets and decided to tell the world. According to him, Area S4 is a secret base located in Nevada near its better-known counterpart, Area 51. So, why the super secret base connected to an already pretty secret base? Well, aliens. Alien spaceships, alien intel, alien technology, antimatter reactors, and Moscovium, also known as Element 151. More on that later. But Area S4 was aggressively denied by the government, who even went so far as to say that Bob Lazar never worked at the Area 51 base in the first place. But here's the thing. At one time, they had also said that there was no Area 51 base, and that they weren't big brothering us either. So in this case, I'm thinking I might be inclined to believe Bob for this one.
Now, Bob Lazar also gave vivid descriptions of the technology that was used to gain access into S4, hand scanners. Now, hand scanning tech may not seem all that impressive to us these days, but keep in mind, he was working at Area 51, or claimed to, in the late 80s, so this was pretty advanced technology for the time. If this is true, you can only imagine some of the futuristic tech they could have over there now. According to Bob Lazar, the security system at the S4 facility involved a unique and advanced hand scanning process. When you'd come up to secure areas, you'd be required to undergo a biometric scan using a hand scanning device. Lazar described this device as a very sophisticated piece of tech that scanned the unique patterns and features of the hand to grant access. He'd place his hand on a scanning surface, and the device would analyze all the specific contours and lines on the hand. The security measure was part of the stringent protocols that were in place to control access to all the extraterrestrial technology housed at S4. But now, back to Hannah.
Next up, the Roswell crash. Now, while Bob Lazar was not the first person to discuss a UFO crash landing in Roswell, New Mexico, he is the first person who has also claimed to have worked on a secret government base to discuss it. So, what is the Roswell crash? Well, it's an event that took place in 1947. A local farmer discovered what appeared to be a flying saucer crash landed in his backyard. The military was pretty quick to collect the debris. Initially, they were brought to a nearby base, but soon it was leaked that the specimen was sent to other bases in Texas and Ohio for further testing, saying that what had actually landed on the farmer's land was nothing more than a weather balloon. So why did they send it to so many testing facilities? Okay, what's even weirder is that 50 years after the incident, the Air Force released a report claiming that the wreckage was actually part of an espionage mission. Bob Lazar claimed that the whole thing was a poorly planned cover-up, and that the strange events that took place in the area after the crash were due to the fact that what had actually been collected was nothing less than an alien spacecraft. Seems like a lot of lying going on from the government there. They keep changing their story. I'm sure in another 50 years they'll tell us what it actually was.
Alright, next up we have Bob Lazar's description of briefing documents. So we've already covered, and we'll talk more about the alien aircrafts seen at the facility, but what about their origin? Does anyone know where these things came from? Well, according to Lazar, the government did have quite a bit of information on these alien beings, and this info was shared with him and other workers in briefing documents. They were part of a briefing that was provided to personnel working on the classified projects at S4. Lazar described the briefing documents as these detailed manuscripts that covered this whole range of topics related to the alleged extraterrestrial presence. They contained info about the history of these alien beings, their technology, and the reasons for their interactions with Earth.
So, in the beginning, James did mention the 9 spacecrafts being examined in Area 51, but furthermore, over at Base S4, it appears, according to Lazar, that they were actually able to figure out exactly how one of the vessels runs. And apparently, it's on Moscovia, aka element 115, or 115. The element supposedly first became known in 2003 after it was synthesized by a team of Russian and American scientists at a joint institute for nuclear research in Russia, although Lazar claims to have seen the element at the S4 base in the 1980s. So, what is element 115? Well, it's a super heavy radioactive element by bombarding the atoms of element americium, 243 with the ions of calcium 48. Hopefully I pronounced those somewhat correctly. Obviously, I don't recommend trying this at home. As I said, the element is radioactive, and also you probably can't do it at home unless you have some kind of $1-million lab stashed away in your basement. Anyways, I think that I do believe Lazar, because if anything's gonna power an alien spaceship, it's probably gonna be something heavy and radioactive. Back to you, James.
Now, aside from all the alien technology stuff and the inner workings of Area 51, there's another interesting story Bob Lazar has shared about his time working at the base, and that's that his phone needed to be tapped. The higher-ups needed to be able to listen in on Lazar's phone to help make sure he wasn't sharing any sensitive information over the phone, but also to help get a sense of his home life. Lazar wasn't allowed to share any info with anyone, of course, including his wife. She was completely in the dark about what he was doing day to day, and she began to think that he was having an affair. And then she started having an affair. The higher-ups at Area 51 knew this because they'd been listening in on his home phone, but Lazar had no idea. One day he came into work but was stopped from coming in. Then in the days that followed, he started noticing that he was being followed. He found out after the fact that they wanted to make sure Lazar wasn't going off the deep end due to marital problems, and that he'd be stable enough to continue his work at the base.
So, Lazar saw the base, and he saw the spacecraft, and he saw what powers it. And then, apparently, he saw military personnel reverse engineer it. Honestly, I don't know why they don't just release this information publicly. I mean, the Pentagon released a bunch of UFO footage, and we're supposed to believe that the best they can do is capture it on video? Like, isn't the United States supposed to have the most powerful military in the world or something? I'm just saying, it might make them look better and smarter and more capable if they just said, yeah, we found a spaceship and it's ours now. But I guess you guys aren't here to listen to me rant about the pointlessness of gatekeeping UFOs. So, Lazar claims that by dissecting one of the vessels on base S4, the government was able to figure out how to build one themselves. Not only that, but he was actually one of the engineers who helped them do it. He also claims that the team used anti-gravity and antimatter technology while crafting the ship, and he had a front row seat to its initial launch.
Thank you, Hannah, and now I'm going to talk more about that launch. So because they knew how these vessels ran, the logical next step was to try taking one for a spin. Lazar described being called out to observe an aerial test of the spacecraft that he'd been helping to work on, and personnel were communicating with someone in the craft who was going to be piloting it. He described the craft as being very quiet, almost completely silent. On initial takeoff, it emitted a blue glowing discharge, making kind of a hissing sound, but once in the air, it just hovered silently. Then the craft did some simple maneuvers, moving around left to right in the air, before it lightly landing back on the ground. Lazar was also told that because traffic in the surrounding area was apparently lowest on Wednesdays, that's when the more impressive flight tests took place. This is where they'd actually take the craft out and fly it higher over the test site and do more impressive maneuvers with it.
So, if Bob Lazar's claims turn out to be true, which they probably will, he will become one of the biggest United States whistleblowers to date, much like Edward Snowden, who revealed the magnitude of government surveillance back in May of 2013. But now that the UFO cat seems to be out of the bag, Lazar has begun to fear for his life. In an interview with 8 News Now, Lazar revealed that the only reason he chose to speak with the news channel was because he believed the government was after him, and he felt that he needed to be in the public eye to ensure his safety. This is the same reason that he claims to have produced his 2018 documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. It's a very direct name, straight to the point. I like it. Lazar claimed that unfavorable things had started happening in his life after revealing the secrets of S4, which he did because he believed that by withholding the information regarding the existence of UFOs and alien intelligence, while many people have backed Lazar's story, with some even claiming to have witnessed the events that took place on the base as well, no one has garnered the same amount of popularity and scrutiny as Lazar, who has had all his credentials wiped from online databases and has been condemned and deemed as a liar by the United States military, who claim that not only has Lazar never set foot on the base S4, but also that S4 doesn't even exist. But again, the military is known to lie, so let me know in the comments who you believe.
Starting our list off at number 10, Dark History. This secret base in the Nevada desert acts as the US military hub for spatial engineering and, possibly, hopefully, some reverse engineering for some alien crafts. The area is named after the geological grid of the desert. The area gained notoriety, of course, in the early 90s, with numerous claims that workers had worked on alien aircraft and even heard of harboring alien creatures underground. The entire premises is fenced off with signs saying no photography allowed, and also use of deadly force is authorized. So whatever they're hiding here, it's mostly military, hopefully with a little splash of ET. The base has been a testing facility for the Air Force and remains one of the most highly secured and secretive bases in America. Number 9. Tikaboo Peak. Say you're watching this video and you want something, right? What's the closest you can legally get to Area 51, right? What's the only way you can possibly see footage of a little alien ship coming and or going? Well, you gotta go to Tikaboo Peak, that's how. Located right in the middle of the Nevada desert, Area 51, of course, is hard to see. This peak could help that problem. Bob Lazar, back in 1989, he spoke out to news outlets explaining how he used to work in Area 51, specifically on UFOs using anti-gravity technology. With this peak being just 26 miles away from the top secret base, you might just see a test flight or two from the bushes, just like Bob did, right? Number 8. They can't stop all of us. Back in the 1950s, the public wanted answers as well. It was June 17th, 1959. The Reno Evening Gazette published a story with the headline reading, "More flying objects seen in Clark sky." More? What'd I miss? More flying objects? Then the paper even went on to describe how Sergeant Wayne Anderson, a local sheriff, was one of many locals that spotted what the paper described as an object bright green in color and descending towards the earth at a speed too great to be an airplane. Yeah, like a meteor, I guess. I don't know, that's terrifying. What could they possibly be talking about? Number 7, the Gorman dogfight. This one is a classic. A lot of people believe this encounter. This encounter lasted a whopping 27 minutes in the air. A dogfight happened between a veteran World War II fighter pilot named George F. Gorman and a UFO. It was him versus a white orb, and they were both at an extremely high altitude above Fargo, North Dakota. Gorman told a local newspaper following the 1948 event, the experienced pilot said, and I quote, "If anyone else had reported such a thing, I would have thought they were crazy." Captain Ruppelt operated Project Blue Book, a series of studies conducted by the US Air Force between 1947 and 1969, and there's reports of the same dogfight from the ground as well. So yes, there are multiple eyewitnesses for this one. Number 6, Project Aquatone. So we think about aircraft evolution over the last, say, 100 years. Well, back in 1955, Area 51 was selected by the CIA as a testing site for the Lockheed U-2. And if you've seen Top Gun Maverick lately, good on you, great film, 10 out of 10. But if you've seen it, this will tickle your fancy. The Lockheed U-2 was this high-altitude aircraft. It was the top-of-the-line technology, and tests were originally conducted over the codename Project Aquatone. Now, on June 25th, 2013, the CIA approved the release of declassified documents that details, for the first time officially, the history of the U-2 and Oxcart programs in response to a Freedom of Information Act request, just like we're seeing right now with these, UFO videos online. The release of those documents marked the first time that the US government actually acknowledged the existence of Area 51. And since then, we've been waiting around for another big announcement or something. Number 5, Virginia sighting. We have to look at some sightings to know what goes on in Area 51, right? If it's spacecrafts or whatever, we've got to look elsewhere for clues. 2 UFO sightings were reported to the National UFO Reporting Center in Virginia on April 4th, 2019, quite recent. At 6:48 a.m., an eyewitness claimed to have seen a light blue circular craft darting across the sky in Virginia Beach headed east. So already you're pumped, right? You're jazzed. Aliens confirmed, right? Then 7 minutes later, an eyewitness at the Norfolk Naval Station, 23 miles northwest, claimed to see what resembled a shooting star with a green glow that never faded. This object also moved without noise and disappeared just like that in 10 seconds. There were 2,348 UFO sightings reported throughout the state between 2001 and 2015. Number 4. Travis Walton, 1975. This horrifying abduction of a local Arizona forester, Travis Walton, take it with a grain of salt. On November 5th, 1975, Walton and a number of others from the logging crew, they were working with timber in the National Forest, and then while riding in a truck with 6 other of his co-workers, they allegedly encountered a flying saucer or a saucer-shaped object hovering about 100 feet away in the forest. It was also making a high-pitched buzz, so it was very, something was going on. Walton exited the truck and ran over curious, and then a beam of light appeared from the craft and blasted him unconscious. The other 6 men were terrified and they drove away before returning moments later in panic to a now vanished Travis. Walton claims that he woke up in a hospital room observed by 3 short, bald creatures, aliens. He fought with them until a more human-looking figure led them to another room where he then blacked out again. Walton claimed he remembers nothing else until he found himself awake yet again alongside a highway 5 days later, naked, clueless of what had just happened. Number 3. Rendlesham Forest, 1980. It was Boxing Day 1980. The forest lies between the military bases of Bentwaters and Woodbridge. Now at 3 a.m., 2 military personnel, John Burroughs and Jim Peniston, they both respond to bright lights in the forest. The radios also stopped working, which is not helpful at all in this case. There was a static feeling in the air as well, and an odd silence. Now the closer the men got, the more they realized it wasn't one of theirs. Peniston was drawn in and he actually touched the craft. It instantly electrocuted him and apparently downloaded him with odd symbols and star maps into his brain before the craft eventually blasted off again. 24 hours later, the craft returned and Deputy Commander Charles Halt is now witness in the exact same spot. Only this time, there are now 3 large landing holes in the grass. Years later, Burroughs and Peniston still ask each other and the British government for their medical records from that night because they never received them. Almost 32 years later and still, they've never received anything. Number 2. O'Hare Airport. The O'Hare Airport incident happened at approximately 4:15 p.m. in broad daylight on November 7th, 2006. The airport received this report that a group of 12 airport employees were all witnessing the same thing. They were all witnessing a metallic saucer-shaped craft hovering still over gate C-17. It was just waiting there for something. The object was spotted by a ramp employee at first, and then it was witnessed by pilots, and then airline management, and then numerous mechanics simultaneously. Air traffic controllers didn't even see the object on radar either. That's the scary part. But in person sat a completely silent, 7-meter wide, dark gray saucer. Several witnesses outside of the airport also saw the object, calling local police and reporting it, of course, because they were terrified. Numerous phone-ins described a disc or a craft hovering above the airport as well for minutes without moving. So everybody saw this, not just airport officials. According to another witness, the object then shot straight up through the clouds at a high speed, leaving just a clear blue hole in the clouds. Number 1. Zimbabwe sighting. In 1996, a mass sighting was witnessed by an entire school in broad daylight in Zimbabwe. Yeah, more than 150 students and staff were all present at this point. There have been tons of documentaries surrounding this exact case. Face-to-face, arm's length with a craft, and also alien beings. Yeah, this is a whole cosmic visit apparently. The children, who are now mostly in their 30s and or 40s, are still convinced. They still stand by what they saw. More than 100 students can still remember what they claim to be telepathic warning from the creatures surrounding our use of technology and the hazards that it has on our planet. So that's cool. Director and writer James Fox documents this infamous interaction in his 2020 documentary, The Phenomenon. Area 51 could be housing UAPs or parts left over from interactions like this one in Zimbabwe back in 1996. Who knows?
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the camouflaged history. First on our list is the probing inquiry. Alexa, what really happened at Area 51 in 1947? This question doesn't just scratch the surface, it digs deep into the heart of the Roswell incident, a landmark event in UFO folklore that allegedly unfolded in the New Mexico desert. Official records dismiss the occurrence as a mere weather balloon mishap, yet conspiracy theorists staunchly argue that it was a cover for a UFO crash recovery. When you pose this question to Alexa, you may not be granted the classified classified information that has evaded public knowledge for decades. However, brace yourself for the possibility of triggering some of Alexa's more cryptic and spine-tingling responses, perhaps revealing Easter eggs that play into the lore surrounding Area 51, designed to thrill those who dare to ask. In our number 9 spot today, we have the unseen inhabitants. Moving on to a question that stirs the pot of cosmic controversy. Alexa, are there aliens at Area 51 right now? It's the question we all want to know the answer to. It's almost expected that Alexa would respond with the programmed dismissal, yet the very act of asking touches a nerve that has been raw for conspiracy theorists for generations. The legendary Area 51, a bastion of secrecy with its labyrinth of classified operations and impenetrable security, it has long been rumored to be a sanctuary for otherworldly visitors. These rumors have been neither confirmed nor denied with any satisfaction, leaving the truth seekers to ponder and the skeptics to doubt. So when you pose this question to your virtual assistant, be ready for an answer that's as mysterious as the base itself. Alexa's cryptic responses might just leave you with more questions than answers as they echo the long-standing mysteries of this clandestine desert outpost. In our number 8 spot today, we have the forbidden technology. Next on our list of unnerving inquiries, Alexa, what advanced technology is hidden in Area 51? This question probes the shadowy depths of conspiracy and classified knowledge. Bob Lazar, a figure who has become synonymous with Area 51's lore, claimed his hands once tinkered with otherworldly mechanics of alien spacecrafts, attempting to unravel their secrets through reverse engineering. His assertions, though controversial, have fueled a firestorm of speculation among UFOologists and skeptics alike. By posing this question to Alexa, you might just peel back a layer of the veil of secrecy, receiving an answer that dances on the edge between the government's acknowledged research endeavors and the far-flung tales of extraterrestrial tech that have long captivated the imaginations of those who look to the stars for answers. In our number 7 spot today, we have the hidden locations. Let's delve a little deeper with the question, Alexa, can you locate the underground facilities at Area 51? Legend has it that beneath the barren Nevada desert, a labyrinth of tunnels and secret facilities sprawl out like a hidden subterranean complex. The rumors speak of vast underground halls, covert labs, and perhaps even alien technology shielded from prying eyes. While Alexa, bound by her programming, cannot divulge satellite secrets or map out classified blueprints, the question itself is a siren call to the curious and to the brave. Just invoking the idea of these concealed chambers can send a thrill of excitement or a shiver of fear through anyone pondering what might lie beneath the surface. It's the power of the unknown, the allure of the forbidden, that transforms this simple question into a portal of endless conjecture and wonder about the secrets that Area 51 might be burying in the depths below. In our number 6 spot today, we have the watchful eyes. Alexa, is Area 51 watching us right now? This probing inquiry isn't just about the reach of a secretive military base's surveillance capabilities, it's a broader contemplation of the unseen eyes that could be lurking in any corner of our increasingly monitored world. The very notion that Area 51's watchful presence could extend into our homes is enough to unsettle even the staunchest skeptic. The exact reason why many of you have expressed you do not and will never own an Alexa yourself. When Alexa responds, perhaps with a programmed joke or a reassuring dismissal of the idea, it does little to dispel the lingering doubt. The silence that follows her answer hangs heavy. A subtle reminder that in the age of smart technology and clandestine operations, the feeling of being watched is never too far away. After all, in a world where information is power, the true extent of surveillance remains a secret, leaving us to wonder, who watches the watchers? In our number 5 spot today, we have the government's secrets. Next on our list of unnerving questions, Alexa, What does the government really use Area 51 for? This question casts doubt on the long-standing government assertion that Area 51 is merely a testing ground for experimental aircraft and advanced weaponry. It's a question that scratches at the surface of a much deeper, more complex web of secrecy. When you pose this question to Alexa, she might respond with the pre-programmed innocuous answer designed to deflect curiosity and maintain the status quo. However, the very act of asking serves as a reminder that beneath the official stories and redacted documents, there lies a multitude of secrets. Secrets wrapped in layers upon layers of classified operations, covert activities, and perhaps truths so profound that they are guarded with the utmost zeal. Alexa's response, whether a simple evasion or an awkward silence, underscores the vast expanse of what we do not know and the tantalizing possibility of what might actually be hidden within the confines of Area 51. In our number 4 spot today, we have the secret experiments. This next question beckons us deeper into the rabbit hole. Alexa, what experiments are being conducted at Area 51? This inquiry isn't just a question, it's a key turning in the lock of a door that many believe leads to rooms filled with the extraordinary and the unexplained. Conspiracy theorists have long speculated that Area 51 is the epicenter of secret, paranormal projects, ranging from the development of time travel capabilities all the way to the manipulation of weather patterns. When you ask Alexa, her answer may be full of ambiguity, a non-committal response that leaves the truth obscured by a veil of secrecy. Yet it's not her answer that chills the spine, it's the unsettling thought that with each question, we might be inching closer to confirming some of the most outlandish theories. The real terror lies in the possibility that our own curiosity could be the catalyst that unravels truths we are unprepared to understand. Truths that might just validate the wildest of claims about the secretive activities at Area 51. In our number 3 spot today, we have the missing evidence. Very mysterious. This next question beckons us into the shadows of government secrecy with Alexa, where are the missing Area 51 files? History has shown us that over time, layers of classified information have been peeled back, revealing the unexpected and sometimes unsettling truths. Despite the release of numerous documents, the consensus among conspiracy theorists is that the most damning evidence remains shrouded in mystery. When you pose this question to Alexa, you might receive nothing more than a deflection, a digital shrug from the depths of the internet. Yet it's not her words that send a chill down your spine. It's the haunting silence that follows, the quiet void that suggests some truths are just too dark to see the light of day. That silence from a machine designed to answer everything is a stark reminder that some secrets are designed to stay buried in the Nevada desert. In our number 2 spot today, we have the extraterrestrial communication. Here's a question that might send a cold ripple through the room. Alexa, have you ever communicated with Area 51? It's a query that toys with the unnerving notion that our smart devices, with their vast cloud-based intelligent networks, whatever the cloud is, could be privy to top secret information. The thought is a playful yet spine-tingling nod to the age-old fear that our own technology could be silently observing us, or even communicating with entities unknown to the average citizen. When you ask Alexa, you might receive a standard programmed no in response, but pay attention to the brief pause that comes before it, that almost imperceptible delay that suggests she might be choosing her words very carefully. It's in that moment of hesitation where your imagination might wonder what secrets she's not allowed to share, and that's what truly sends a shiver down your spine. And finally, finishing off this list in our number 1 spot, we have the final warning. We arrive at the ultimate query. Alexa, tell me something about Area 51 that no one knows. This is not just a question, it's a challenge to the veil of secrecy around the infamous military base. It's an invitation to the unknown, a call to the void for information that has eluded even the most dedicated truth seekers. Alexa, bound by her programming and the laws of confidentiality, cannot unearth classified information or whisper hidden truths about national security. It's the implications of of what such a question represents, the depth of secrets, the potential revelations, and the Pandora's box that it could all open. This all sends a ripple of trepidation through the spine. It's a reminder that some mysteries, especially those surrounding Area 51, are perhaps cloaked in darkness for a reason.
At number 10, David Grusch confirms Bob's story in the Supreme Court. David Grusch is a United States Air Force officer and former top intelligence official who testified to American Congress under oath during a national hearing that the US government is involved in a massive UFO cover-up, maintaining a secret program that includes the possession of non-human spacecraft and the remains of extraterrestrial pilots. What? Let's go. He also suggests that people have been literally terminated to protect these secrets. Guys, I was right all along. Grusch's claims go even further, touching on the idea that UFOs might originate from other dimensions, describing encounters with colossal crafts and secret transfers to defense contractors. During this congressional hearing, he revealed information about a long-running UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, oddly reminiscent and in line with much of what Bob has previously claimed. While skepticism persists, there's no doubt that Congress has begun taking UFOs seriously, as it's implied that the overseers of this operation seem to even outrank Congress themselves in terms of obtaining clearance. So who the hell is pulling the strings? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. At number 9 are the assassination attempts. Bob Lazar's survival amidst his explosive Area 51 claims have perplexed many. In the 80s, one might have expected a swift and ominous government response to silence him. However, Lazar employed a strategic move by going public with his revelations, despite many reports of Lazar not wanting to do so. See, eliminating him then would have fueled the conspiracy fire, lending credibility to his narrative. Lazar never wanted any of the fame. He only went public as a means of protecting himself. That's why he's been mostly quiet since, seeking refuge in anonymity and relocating far from the epicenter of his initial disclosures. Now, taking him out would have made too much noise, but the actions that the government did take to discredit Lazar actually gave us enough validation that we need. Because what does the government do when they're mad at someone with assets like Bob's chemical company? Well, they audit it with the IRS, or they use the FBI or DEA or ATF to either infiltrate said business and or put pressure on said business in many ways, like how the FBI just raided Lazar's home and place of work, and then proceeding to isolate him from his support network. I mean, that should be validating enough. I mean, ruining people's days with bureaucracy is basically the government's calling card. If you're enjoying this video so far, you can support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. Alright, let's finally talk about aliens with number 8, Lazar's alien sighting. With David Grusch confirming the fact that the government is in possession of not just craft, but actual life forms, this tidbit inadvertently confirms Lazar's alien sighting while at S4. See, the story goes that on one and only one occasion during his employment at the secret facility, as Bob was being taken through a hallway, he glimpsed through a window that had been previously obscured and saw what appeared to be scientists with clipboards standing over a miniature chair, and in it was a small and thin gray body with elongated arms disproportionate to its small body and head. Now, Bob only got a glimpse of this for a second, and he has since managed to convince himself that what he saw in the chair was a dummy, like perhaps they were trying to deduce the size of the alien from the dimensions of the chair. But ladies and gents, why would they need to do that if they already have the bodies? You know, with all this Pentagon stuff coming out, it's only a matter of time before Corbell yanks Bobby out of the closet for another documentary. Or at least I hope so. And number 7, Bob coined Area 51. Bob worked at the secret facility near Groom Lake, where he alleged that alien technology was being reverse engineered by the government, or in other words, being taken apart to figure out how it operated in a bid to one day duplicate the technology. And that secret facility was none other than the enigmatic Area 51. I mean, almost. See, while the base notoriously known as Area 51 was definitely popularized by Bob, if we're actually going to be accurate here, he never technically worked at Area 51 proper. He actually worked at Area S4, which is about 15 miles south of Area 51, but still technically within the Area 51 compound. I mean, if you're confused, imagine S4 as sort of a subset of Area 51. Like, this may or may not be true. If you're confused, imagine S4 as sort of like a subset of Area 51. Like, if Area 51 holds all of America's sci-fi weapons and tech, S4 is the flying saucer department. Anyhow, Area 51 is adjacent to Groom Lake, with a mountain dividing it from S4 at Papoose Lake, and it's it's this very mountain range which conceals the hidden hangar, where all the UFOs are at. Lazar alleged that S4 is disguised with dirt and gravel coloring, but is a hangar built into the side of this mountain as to camouflage the base from onlookers and satellites. Pretty ideal spot for hiding flying saucers. At number 6, Jerry Freeman's S4 expedition. Jerry Freeman's expedition into the Nevada desert, driven by his pursuit of the Lost 49ers historical inscriptions, inadvertently sheds light on Bob's claims about S4. Despite the fact that Freeman wasn't looking for aliens or secret bases, Freeman's trek through the unauthorized desert just so happened to bring him tantalizingly close to the supposed location of S4, according to Lazar, and Freeman's encounters with mysterious lights in the night sky align eerily with Lazar's descriptions. Freeman's journey through no man's land, fraught with danger from military patrols, snakes, and the peculiar sightings on snakes and the harsh desert, led him to document the peculiar sightings on the night of April 26, 1997. These lights, situated near Papoose Lake, align eerily with Bob's description of S4's location. Freeman observed lights in the mountain range near Papoose Lake that remained stationary and appeared to get larger and smaller, as a hangar door would if it were opened and closed. Though skeptics attribute the light to mundane sources, the remote and completely isolated location and lack of apparent infrastructure make this theory highly improbable. Instead, they eerily coincide with Lazar's count of S4. At number 5 is the majestic clearance. Before Lazar was brought to S4, he was forced to do mounds of paperwork, from security clearances to revealing all kinds of personal information. Basically, the government gave him all the forms necessary to work on his top secret tech. Anyhow, Lazar revealed during an interview way back when that while he was completing this paperwork, the government had been updating his security clearance to a new level that they described as majestic. Now, if you're a UFOologist at heart, that word probably sounded a couple alarms in the old conspiracy lobe. See, Majestic 12, or MJ12, is a perplexing UFO conspiracy theory which alleges the existence of a secret committee formed in 47 by President Truman to investigate alien spacecraft. However, it all hinges on disputed documents from 84, with the FBI dismissing it as completely bogus, because of course they would. Archives.gov found within their clearance only one file alluding to MJ12, called Memorandum for General Twinning, from Robert Culler, Special Assistant to the President, subject NCS/MJ-12 Special Studies Project, dated July 4, 1954. Refers to a briefing that did take place on July 16th. The memorandum does not identify MJ-12 or the purpose of the briefing. At number 4 is Bob's jet engine car. See, the skeptics always come marching in armed with claims that Lazar's educational and job history don't check out, because the government wiped all this history, of course. And in an effort to discredit his job, they've painted him as a high school dropout who never set foot in a lab. Oh, is that so? Exhibit A, June 1982, the Los Alamos Monitor boasts a picture. This Los Alamos Monitor newspaper boasts a picture of Bob Lazar next to a rocket-powered car he built. It's documented in history, folks, available in libraries. That's right, you guys. This man stuck a jet engine in his Honda, drove that thing to work. The man was infamous in his town, so hold on a minute. We're looking at these puzzle pieces, and they just don't fit together. It's like trying to make 2 + 2 equals something other than 4. See, the dude is clearly a genius who thinks outside the box. I mean, if I was MJ-12, I'd be looking for people like Bob. Bob's revelations about how even within cherished top secret programs, the divisions regarding this are heavily segmented such that no one person gets the whole picture. The UFO phenomenon, which is often sidelined as an oddity, epitomes this separation of knowledge. Lazar's revelations change the belief in authoritative institutions' reliability, given their concealment of truths. This should question our trust in these institutions, but UFOs remain sidelined. Imagine if UFOs entered mainstream discourse, reshaping our understanding and solving problems. Breaking down these barriers reveals endless possibilities, inspiring us to question what else they're hiding and what realities lie beyond our current beliefs. At number 2 is alien tech. Bob Lazar made some astonishing claims about extraterrestrial technology, and one of the most jaw-dropping was the propulsion system of these alien saucers. Lazar described how the craft wouldn't fly like a traditional saucer because the gravity amplifiers were under the craft, but this idea was scoffed at. Fast forward to today, and we're shown Pentagon released footage showing UFOs performing precisely as he described, rotating at high speeds with gravity-defying maneuvers belly first. Then there's the element 115, or Moscovium. Lazar asserted that it was the key to alien propulsion, and skeptics laughed since no such element even existed. But today, we've synthesized it, only in unstable forms lasting milliseconds of course, yet Lazar sticks to his claim of a stable isotope powering these craft. And finally, the material of these UFO defies conventional engineering. Described back in the 80s as liquid titanium, but more comparable to a 3D printed like single unit in the modern day, the uniform, rivetless, and seamless structure of the spacecraft is like a smooth cast iron model of a TTC bus compared to an actual rickety TTC bus. I swear, it feels like those things are gonna fall apart at the seams any minute. If you want to know more about the alleged alien tech and how it works, you can check out part 1 of the series. But before you do, let's reveal our top spot today with number 1, Colm Kelleher, a program manager deeply enriched within the government's largest covert endeavor, who recently disclosed on Jeremy Corbell's live stream an astonishing revelation. Kelleher boldly confirmed that the United States has successfully intercepted and acquired UFOs of enigmatic origin. This revelation sends ripples through the long-standing mystery surrounding Area 51 and Bob Lazar's contentious claims, because for decades, skeptics dismissed Lazar's assertions of reverse engineering an alien spacecraft at Area 51 as mere conspiracy fodder. However, Kelleher's confirmation adds a substantial layer of credibility to Lazar's controversial narrative. It forces us to confront the possibility that there exists a clandestine world of groundbreaking technologies and extraterrestrial encounters which remain hidden from public view. This admission opens a Pandora's box of questions about how much our government truly knows about advanced extraterrestrial technology and the implications for our understanding of it in the universe. At number 10 is the propulsion system. It's been quite the astonishing turn of events when you consider Bob Lazar's claims about UFOs in Area 51. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with the story, Bob Lazar came forward with some rather extraordinary assertions back in the late 1980s, claiming that he worked at a secret facility near Area 51 called S4, where he was said to reverse engineer extraterrestrial spacecraft. And one of his most intriguing claims was about the way these saucers operated. Fast forward to today, and we've got this remarkable video footage from Commander David Fravor released by the Pentagon showcasing a UFO doing exactly what Bob Lazar described decades ago, rotating at high speed with sharp angular turns, flying belly first. According to Bob Lazar, that's thanks to the gravity amplifiers along the underside of the ship that Bob had described centuries ago, as opposed to the classic rendition of a saucer flying parallel to the ground as we'd see in sci-fi. While Bob and the gimbal video both showed us that while it does have the capacity to fly like a frisbee, it can conjure what's essentially a powerful gravity vortex underneath the craft to pull it at extremely high velocity. Like, if you were inside one of these bad boys at speed, it would feel like you're falling downwards, nearing Mach something. It's one of those moments that makes you question just how much we might not know about the universe and what's happening in the shadows of government secrecy. The convergence of Lazar's claims and the actual evidence is undeniably mind-boggling. If you're enjoying this video so far, you can support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to the most amazing, and ringing that notification bell. At number 9 is Element 115. The revelations about Element 115, which Lazar insisted was the key to alien propulsion technology, eventually found their place in the scientific lexicon. See, back in the late 1980s, Lazar made waves by asserting that Element 115, or what he called unpentium, was the fuel source for extraterrestrial UFOs he alleged to have worked on at Area 51. Skeptics scoffed as Element 115 wasn't officially recognized at this time. Fast forward to today, and we've synthesized Element 115, now known as Moscovium, in a lab setting. But here's the twist. Our most stable isotopes of Moscovium have a fleeting existence lasting mere milliseconds. Yet Lazar continues to claim the existence of a stable isotope that powers these otherworldly craft. It's a tantalizing mystery that leaves us pondering the potential secrets lurking within the cosmos and deep within the confines of Area 51. At number 8 is the FBI raid. Back in 1989, during a live interview with George Knapp, Lazar made headlines by disclosing his work at the mysterious Area 51 Section S4, reverse engineering these extraterrestrial craft. He even claimed to have stolen a piece of Element 115, which purportedly powered these spaceships. Now fast forward to 2019, when United Nuclear Scientific, Lazar's scientific supply company, was raided by the FBI. Conspiracy theorists believe that the Feds sought his supposed Element 115 samples. Now there are some government-released documents that paint a different picture, but can't we trust those? The raid, as it seems, was tied to a unaliving investigation involving failing thallium poisoning, a substance Lazar's company had sold. The FBI's alleged involvement dated back to early 2016, well before his documentary was being filmed. However, Lazar and the filmmaker Jeremy Corbell contend that the raid was a cover-up story to mask the real intent, which they insist was element 115. You see, Lazar was cooperating with law enforcement, providing documents and information on thallium sales, leading to search warrants being unexecuted. But just after they filmed this segment where he discussed his possession of 115 for the movie, they enacted a full search warrant on his house and job site. Coincidence? I think not. At number 7, bone density scanners. In a twist worthy of an X-Files episode, Bob Lazar's Area 51 claims seem to have gained some more unexpected validation. Lazar is a man whose assertions about reverse engineering the extraterrestrial spacecraft at the secretive facility have long raised eyebrows, but he's finally found support in the form of a revealing photograph. Thanks to filmmaker Jeremy Corbell's tenacity, Lazar's narrative has been bolstered with tangible evidence. The photograph hails from a classified US government program conducted at Nellis Air Force Range, located in close proximity to Area 51. What's remarkable here is how closely the depicted hand scanner aligns with Lazar's detailed descriptions. Lazar, taken aback by the confirmation, reflected, quote, "I had never thought I would see these again," end quote. It was a biometric scanner, he explained, designed to measure the length of hand bones to grant access to the secretive S4 area. Lazar's skeptics now may need to rethink their positions as this unexpected piece of evidence casts a shadow of credibility over his extraordinary claims. At number 6, the UFO models. Bob Lazar's claims about Area 51 have continued to intrigue and mystify us over the years. His descriptions of inside of the UFO are particularly fascinating. He paints a picture of a spacecraft that defies our understanding of engineering. See, the absence of right angles and the fusion of materials hinted an otherworldly origin. What's striking is how his analogy to describe the material which is composed evolved with time, from his initial description as liquid titanium with everything fused together lacking rivets or seams, to a more contemporary comparison to 3D printing, the entire body being composed of one unit. It's like picture a metal 3D printed bus versus an actual bus on the TTC rattling as it rolls because the thing is barely held together with screws. It raises the intriguing questions about advanced technology behind these craft and whether they indeed come from a civilization far beyond our own. Furthermore, Lazar's revelation that each of the 9 UFO at Area 51 had distinct designs is mind-boggling. They ranged from a jello mold-like structure to a completely flat disc, with diversity hinting at a level of technological sophistication beyond anything we can comprehend. And lastly, the notion that at least one of these UFOs may have ties to an archaeological dig amplifies an even deeper mystery. Could these craft have ancient origins, possibly predating recorded history? At number 5 is Zeta Reticuli. Bob Lazar's claims about Area 51 have fascinated UFO enthusiasts for years. One of his most intriguing assertions was that the flying saucer he worked on came from the Zeta Reticuli star system, specifically ZR3. This revelation is not just another conspiracy theory, with roots in UFO lore dating back to the 1960s. See, the Zeta Reticuli connection echoes through the story of Barney and Betty Hill, who famously claimed they were abducted by aliens in '61. During Betty's hypnosis after the event, she drew a star map depicting their alleged abductor's home. Astronomers analyzed this map for years and argued that it resembled the Zeta Reticuli star system. At number 4, Bob's predecessor. Lazar claimed that he replaced a colleague whose existence met a gruesome end during an incident shrouded in mystery. The circumstances surrounding the substitution remain murky, enveloped in a fog of classified information. Lazar hints at a desperate endeavor of science, an attempt to dissect an alien saucer's reactor while it was running, leading to a tragic fatality. The mere notion of using a plasma cutter on an active alien power source seems recklessly unscientific, inviting speculation about the nature of technology hidden within S4. At number 3, the military made him disappear. One of the most intriguing aspects of Bob's story is the mysterious absence of records supporting his educational and professional background. The absence of proof that he attended MIT or Caltech, coupled with his lack of employment records at Los Alamos National Lab, adds another layer to the enigma surrounding his story. The documentary suggests that these missing records might be a part of a deliberate government effort to discredit Lazar. By erasing his educational and employment history, authorities could cast doubt on his credibility, making it easier to dismiss his astonishing revelations about reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology at Area 51. They somehow even managed to scrub any mention of his alleged thesis on magnetohydrodynamics. While the missing birth certificate may seem like another element of this conspiracy, it's essential to scrutinize the available evidence and weigh it against Lazar's claims and arrive at a balanced perspective on this perplexing Area 51 mystery. At number 2, the Tic Tac. Remember the Tic Tac encounter back in 2004? Black Aces Commander Dave Fravor thought it couldn't be any type of earthly origin, hinting at anti-gravity technology. Interestingly, when Lazar saw the footage, it matched his description of one of the 9 craft in the hangar at S4. Former Pentagon intelligence officer Lou Ezinaldo revealed the military very secret study aimed to decipher the physics of these UFOs, suggesting that they rely on exotic metamaterials, echoing Lazar's claims. So what was once ridiculed as conspiracy is now a tantalizing mystery that even the Pentagon can't ignore. We're living in a world where truth is stranger than fiction. And at number 1, how did they even get here? If manipulating gravity with negative matter wasn't wacko enough, according to Bob, who allegedly got all evidence of his degrees scrubbed by the government, he delved into the idea of manipulating the permittivity and permeability of free space to tinker with the speed of light. Yeah, this might sound like science fiction, but it's not. See, recent developments in metamaterials and photonic engineering have shown that we can indeed manipulate these properties at certain frequencies. This revelation potentially opens doors to rethinking our understanding of relativity. Lazar's notion that relativity could emerge from the depths of quantum mechanics is a concept that tickles the mind of physicists. Could light itself be the architect of space-time bridges between distant points in the universe? It's a tantalizing thought. And while we're not zipping across the cosmos yet, Lazar's claims are no longer brushed aside as pure fantasy, leaving us to ponder the mysteries of what we thought possible. As we navigate the mysterious world of conspiracy theories and government secrecy, it's essential to approach such claims with a discerning eye and open mind. While elements of Bob's story have been validated, others remain shrouded in mystery, reminding us that the quest for truth is a complex and ongoing journey.
In our number 10 spot, we have the black helicopters. Apparently outside of Area 51, people have spotted black helicopters fly in and out of the area. It is said that this is the home to the government's secret helicopters. Dating all the way back to the 1970s, people have reported seeing these black helicopters. There were rumors that they were to do with cattle mutilation, toxic chemical releases over neighborhoods. But most people seem to believe that those are just stories to cover up what they're really doing, flying the reptilian leaders in and out, let's be real. In our number 9 spot, we have studying the spacecraft. There have been a few whistleblowers that have worked at Area 51, and these people have stated that the engineers that are working in the testing area are actually reverse engineering alien spaceships. We can assume they are doing this to figure out how the aliens made these shapes and how they fly so fast. Man, that's so trippy. As far back as the 1950s, people have reported seeing unidentified flying objects at the Southern Nevada military base. One of the whistleblowers, named Bob Lazar, has spoken out about this, and apparently while working in Area 51, he saw flying saucers that were powered by an element called 115. And that was years before that element was recorded as found by humans. Imagine working on an alien spaceship and coming across a whole new metal that's not from this planet. And I'm sure they've discovered things that I wouldn't even be able to dream about in my wildest dreams. In our number 8 spot, we have aliens. Okay, so there is no photographic evidence for this claim, but there have been whistleblowers that have said this to be true. Honestly though, anyone else thinking what I'm thinking? Are the aliens being held hostage? Or are we being held hostage? Let's be real. Most likely they're controlling us, or the aliens are being held hostage by the reptile people that are already here and running mankind. That's it. I'm out. Apparently though, Bob Lazar has said that he walked down a hallway at S4 in Area 51 and he saw a small, gray extraterrestrial between two men in lab coats through a small window. Apparently he was told by a guard to stop looking and, move along. There have been other sightings of gray creatures in other secret military bases, such as the one in Dulce, New Mexico, in 1979 by a man by the name of Philip Schneider. So, I believe that Bob is telling the truth. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. In our number 7 spot, we have weather control. I've heard about this for quite some time, and I truly feel like if there's something that I could fully get on board with and believe right away, it's the idea that the government controls the weather. Hear me out. First off, being able to do that would be extremely valuable, and honestly, it could make you potentially threatening to your competitors. Don't mess with me, otherwise I will make sure it rains on your country for a full month and all of your crops will suffer. Watch, wars in the future will just be governments messing with each other's weather. That would be wild. If we can make objects fly, if we can send messages through empty space through a phenomena that we call the internet, we call Wi-Fi,
We could definitely create a few clouds every now and then. We do have proof though that the government has done research projects to modify clouds in the past, but who knows if there was a conclusion to this experiment, let alone if this experiment took place in Area 51. In our number 6 spot we have the CIA filings. Apparently, up until 2013, we had no idea that Area 51 even officially existed. In 2005, the National Security Archive at George Washington University filed a Freedom of Information Act about the U-2 spy plane program. And so, in 2013, the CIA was forced to declassify documents that related to Area 51. After this reveal, it became known that the military spent 20 years testing aerial surveillance programs called U-2 and Oxcart, and it also confirmed the existence of Area 51, which the locals would have been able to confirm regardless, but whatever. I could just imagine after the release of this information, all of the locals start connecting the dots about all the missing people in their area and blame it on the aliens. I would love to speak to some of the locals and see what they actually think and say. That would be fascinating. Anyways, they kept Area 51 a secret for so long that there must be a number of darker secrets within it that we don't know about. You can only assume. In our number 5 spot we have the US military base. Author of Area 51, An Uncensored History of America's Top Secret Military Base by Annie Jacobson, has been quoted as saying that yes, Area 51 is filled with secrets, but these secrets are around creating weapon systems and surveillance platforms that no one can think of, for the US military. Hence the reason it needs to remain a secret so they can one-up their opponent. Annie has gone on to say that if everyone could think of what they were doing, then they wouldn't be doing their job correctly. Apparently Area 51 is the birthplace of what is called ISR intelligence. Why on earth would they not understand most earthly aircraft at this point in time in the world? They are working on reverse engineering alien spacecraft. I believe it. In our number 4 spot we have secret disappearances. In the area of Area 51, there have been a lot of reportings of disappearances, some of young people and some are older. It has been reported that these disappearances are tied to Area 51, as some believe it's the aliens within the base that are taking these people. But most likely the actual people of Area 51 are taking these people as test subjects, as there is no sign of them ever again after they disappear. That's what I think, at least. Where are they going to, and why is it so often within the vicinity of the base? Questions only the insiders would most likely know the answers to. In our number 3 spot we have the Nevada Triangle phenomena. A lot of people are very well aware of the Nevada Triangle phenomena, and we're pretty positive that the people of Area 51 would know the dark secrets around it. From Las Vegas to Reno, Reno to Fresno, and Fresno to Las Vegas, there have been many reports of unusual goings on. Similar to the famous Bermuda Triangle, people disappear forever. Planes go missing, aliens have been spotted, claims of magical rocks, and so much more. The area and all its mysteriousness continues to be a complete mystery. Within the area is the Sierra Mountains, and if you have seen the new Jurassic Park movie, that is where they keep the major dinosaurs. I bet you the dinosaurs are just a front for the truth. That is where they keep the aliens, obviously. Coming up at our number 2 spot, we have portals to a new dimension. Along with the home base for the reptilian race, people believe that Area 51 actually holds the portal to another dimension, which honestly isn't too far-fetched when you hear about the reportings of the people that have gone near the area in the Sierra Mountains and have disappeared, only to have been teleported to a new area. Yep, these are real reportings from seemingly coherent people. The people inside the Area 51 base would know about this, and if strange things like this are happening in this area, then I bet you that it is not a coincidence that there's a secret government base right smack in the middle of it. Coincidence? I think not, sir. In our number 1 spot today, we have time travel. Along with the portal to another dimension theory, there is also a theory that the people of Area 51 are hiding a time travel machine. That's right. We know that scientists in testing facilities around the world have been playing with speeds that are too fast to imagine. So it is possible that something has been invented to travel time. A lot of people say, yes, this is probably possible, especially with the rise of people people claiming that they have time traveled from the future. However, some of their claims have been inaccurate, such as, Donald Trump being the last US president, or that World War III would be in 2015. In any case, if there is a time travel machine, then Area 51 employees would possibly know about it. At least the higher ups would, even if the employees didn't know what they were working on.